You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Podcast. This is episode number 149. It's almost a landmark episode of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by our great friend, Zach Burcham. Not really a co-host. Maybe you're a co-host. I don't know. But he's here. He came to still tell stories in Patreon, and we kept him around. And my other forever co-host, Dakota Davis.
That's right. Today's episode features special returning guests and one of the newest Patreon members, Liberty Defender Sean Row. Sean is here to talk to us about everything that he knows. He's an expert on things like
the internet,
decorum, and
the law,
speech writing. He's an expert on all these things, so we thought that he would have been the best guest to talk to us about the State of the Union address.
Impeachment analyst.
No.
But we will be talking to Sean about the State of the Union. We will also be talking about political division that is happening in our country right now. Sean actually has a master's degree in philosophy, so maybe he can tell us a little bit about some of the ethics about why we hate each other and how we heal from that. Then we will also be talking about the Democratic primary and the absolute, what we are calling the chaotic caucus that happened in Iowa, and whether or not Pete Buttigieg just totally cheated on everything. Make sure you stick around to the end to hear all of that.
I've called him a stand-up philosopher in the past, and nobody gets the joke, so I won't make it today.
That's okay.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh. But hopefully you'll always learn something new. If you really want to learn something new, join the Patreon, because that's where the stories are told, everybody. The group, the community feeling. It's all in there. That's
right. The patreon.com/BossHog of Liberty is where you can sign up to donate to the show at a monthly level. We suggest
$200 a month. That's the suggested retail value.
But we will take less.
You have to take less. It's Patreon. They can pay you what they want to pay you.
Once again, I am asking you for your financial support.
But this show is totally This show is totally crowdfunded. We haven't had the need to do any sort of advertisements, and that is because of the folks that support us on Patreon. Even through the winter, we haven't needed to do or seek out advertisements for the show, and that is all for your listening pleasure.
We've been blowing the money on wasteful things like heating and lighting and internet. I mean, we've been just ballers around here.
You could have fooled me on the heating part.
It's still pretty cold.
Sorry, it's the snowstorm of the century,
chilly.
Zach.
We at least try to keep it to where you can't see your breath, because that would just mess with the video.
It's like Chris Wright doing the weather around here. It got serious during the Patreon. I took off my sweater, and now I'm wearing my wrinkled shirt. Probably pit stained out.
It was almost 70 a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And so if you sign up at patreon.com/BossHog of Liberty, you get access to the bonus episode that happens every week before the regular show. You also get access to the show notes that include clickable links that can take you to where I get all of the information that I put into the show notes. And we also offer all kinds of other things, like we have stickers that are coming in the mail. And we have, I think at certain tiers, you will get a postcard in the mail from us that was designed, that has all of the crew's favorite episode selfies on the background. And then if you sign up at $50 or more a month, then we give you a shout out at the front of every episode. Those folks are Jonathan Phillips, Chris Lamb, and Craig DeCosta, and of course, Christy Avery. We also have the T-Chip stores, tchip.com/BHO1, 2, or 3. That's where you can get your merchandise to rep the show on the streets. And then we are also, Chris Guffey, producer Chris, had a great idea for our next fundraiser, and we are going to be supporting a fine participant of the Special Olympics polar plunge. We have the donation link is on our Facebook page. Chris Guffey, he will put the donation link in the live stream comment section so that you can, just it's for a good cause. It's a fun event as well. So I think it's something very important to the community, and we would love to help out, and we would love to see our listeners help out in any way that we can.
Woo! That was a lot. I've been on break. I don't even remember how to host a show anymore. You talked for so long. That was
I'm not sure either.
There's great content in the Facebook group.
I was messaging Zach just now. Actually, I was shit posting
our Facebook. Listen,
the Patreon group.
If you sign up at Patreon at any level, you get added to the Boss Hog of Liberty Patreon supporters group, and a lot of times we put some pretty hilarious things in
there's some stuff that's you'll go back to later and you just need to be cheered up.
And you don't even have to learn a secret handshake to join.
That's true.
Well, just join the Patreon.
Yeah, we're just whores, man. We'll just take your money and you're in. There is no security.
There's something to be said about that.
and listen, if
purely transactional.
If you join, it takes us a little while to figure out that you stopped paying your bill. So you join once, we'll add you in, and then once in a while we'll go, damn it, that guy shouldn't be commenting. He's stealing from us. He hasn't given us enough free stuff lately, and he's got to leave the group.
True.
We haven't sent any demand letters out.
I don't think so.
You just purge them. Once they say something that pisses you off, you just purge them out and get rid of them. All right. So State of the Union happened.
That's right.
I was at the in-laws' house with Guffey, and we accidentally turned it on. We were watching your 9 bets try to come home.
Oh God, that was a horrible night
across 2 or 3 screens.
That was a horrible night,
and you lost like $2,000. What's the self-help number? What
1-800-9 with it.
That's it. Put that on speed dial 2.
No,
number 1 is voicemail. Speed dial 2 is get your help.
I'll say I think I lost that night. What? 160, 170.
God, I don't realize a lot of money.
Holy crap!
That
hurts me.
You just earn it back later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's all.
No, I'm still plus.
Don't
like
worry. I'll
8
just
or 900.
sell some of the limited time I have on this earth so that I can put that money back to a sports ball team that knows nothing about me or cares about my
Hey,
existence.
wait a minute. Do you know you can bet on the Oscars this weekend?
You can bet on the
you
Oscars.
kidding me?
Guess what? DraftKings is going to have it where you can bet on the elections. I'm taking Bernie plus or minus.
Guffey didn't come to the city council meeting. I was like, where are we at? He's like, home gambling. I was like, it's a certain part where
he's not depressed over losing the election, but now he's just at home gambling. It's fine.
Gambling.
It's all good.
He's trying to win it
Spiraling,
back.
boys. I'm spiraling.
He's good. Tomorrow, he's bouncing back tomorrow.
Tomorrow
will be my last bet for sure. I can stop whenever I want to.
I can quit whenever I want.
But Trump did deliver the State of the Union address. Who watched it?
I watched portions of it.
What does that mean? Do you mean you were flipping back and forth on channels?
I watched 15 minutes of it. I watched enough to see El Rushbo get the Medal of
Rush Limbaugh?
Rush Limbaugh, El Rushbo. Yeah.
That's what you said.
El Rushbo. That's what
it sounded
he sits
like
behind the.
It sounded like you said Rush Limbaugh.
No, man, mega dittos. So I watched, and I did not expect that to happen. And then he announced that, hey, Rush is getting this award. And then the next thing you know, they stopped the State of the Union, and he's getting it pinned on him by Melania
which is an absolute FU to the Democrats for putting him through all that, which, whatever. I mean, it's all political theater is my thesis.
He can put on a TV show. That's what he's from. And he understands what makes great TV moments.
And Limbaugh is perfect for that role.
Without a doubt.
He was born to play that role during the State of the Union, to do it and act surprised and every bit of it. That's a big honor. It's cool. It's fine. Obviously he had a bad diagnosis this last month, and rough news. He's a very important person to anybody that's ever sat behind a microphone. You pay attention to Rush Limbaugh in his career. But yeah, you're exactly right, Sean. I looked at the State of the Union, and it has become complete and total theater on all sides. Last year, Dakota has it in the show notes. The women, all the new congresswomen from the last term wore white, stood together, and they were a block.
Skipping ahead. I
know, but that was all theater. That was theater. The speaker did not shake the president's hand.
Well, the president
or
didn't
he didn't shake her hand,
yes.
and then she gave the look of what the hell.
Yeah.
And then in turn, when she received the speech, she made it confetti
at the end. Yeah.
It was just it is entirely theater.
Yeah.
It's from time to time. They don't have to do it every year. Maybe they should just take 4 years off and do this when we have new people involved.
To that point, I mean, I didn't even watch it. I was watching Chicago Blackhawks hockey against the Minnesota Wild, and the Blackhawks
is it a real
lost in
team
overtime.
when they don't end in an S?
I had the
Shouldn't
Pelicans
it be the Wilds
versus Bucks that night.
Shouldn't it be the Wilds?
The Wild. I call them the Minnesota Mild, mostly because it's
The Minnesota
more fun to
Mild.
say.
The Miami Worms.
I had a number of beverages with a local attorney. We'll call him Lo Jansinger.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that man.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, but no, I didn't really see the point in watching that particular State of the Union. I caught the highlights, the lowlights, whatever you want to call it.
Go back and see one of the Clinton
Yeah, I
ones or
mean, it's
something.
like it was funny because in the group text, I was like, well, what were the policy highlights? And then I thought to myself, okay, this is Donald Trump. There are no policy highlights. It's just grandstanding and grandiose. And
he did ask for bigger government. I mean, he still worked some of that in.
Oh, absolutely.
So there was for like the first, I think it was actually, I put in here 15 to 20 minutes at the beginning, but I went back and it was actually the first 24 minutes of the State of the Union address. He just named statistics, pure numbers. And things
numbers he's picked.
Yeah, well, numbers that his speechwriter probably picked.
Sean,
to be
you're
honest.
you're not.
But it was.
You're starting to come across as a bit of a never Trumper. Are you not in good standing with Team Elephant?
I'm not in good standing with Donald J. Trump.
Are you a Romney Republican now?
I would say, with Mitt Romney, I've had issues with Mitt Romney when he ran against Obama, and really he had an opportunity there, but. With the way he conducted himself this week, I think he's shown something at least.
I did notice this week after the impeachment happened, and the vote happened, that the last two Republican nominees before Trump have been in absolute, like they're the two people that have had the stones to put their foot down. The late John McCain and Romney. Now that he's got the Senate seat in this third act in his political career, it's like.
Which gave Trump plenty of ammo at the prayer breakfast this morning to say,
of course, because you need ammo at a prayer breakfast.
I do pray to God to smite my enemies.
It was, he said, there's a lot of harsh feelings whenever you fail so badly at running for president.
Yeah. just owns. Just like Christians just worry about a president that can own other people. And that's more important than your Christianity or your faith. It's just a dude a big orange guy that can just own people.
I love watching him.
He's P.T. Barnum for the 21st century.
I get such good entertainment value from every time I watch Trump give a speech. And, it like a lot of the thing, like whenever he was talking about the economy, what I was going to say then was it was purposeful that the first 24 minutes of it were about how great the economy was, and everything that he said was an undoubtable fact. Like it was real.
Well, I doubt those facts, but I understand what you mean.
Even the NPR fact check report said that they couldn't.
Wait a minute. That is paid for. That's paid for by public funding that he's in charge of. So let's get back to state-run media over here, Dakota.
Yeah.
Did you check with MSNBC and CNN?
Typically,
the Babylon Bee said, "Welcome everybody. It's a good night," and that was fact check is incorrect. So I don't know.
They went harsh on some other things, and you could tell that it was definitely written by a very hard left-leaning person that wrote the fact check. But it was like, wait a minute, I'm seeing a trend here. Whenever he's talking about the economy and whenever he brings numbers into it, they are very careful to make sure that all of that is 100% true. Right. So if you're watching at home, and because we're all Americans and we all have horrible attention spans, you're going to watch for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the State of the Union address and go, God, the economy is doing great.
I tuned in halfway through and the boring stuff was over.
So that, I think that was great for, I think that was a great strategy whenever he was doing this. And that's what I think makes Trump great to watch, is because everything is so strategic.
Well, I think he was very controlled in that environment from what I saw.
Yeah.
And he can go out on the road and riff and cut up with people. And that's what makes him relatable, despite the fact he's a Manhattan billionaire, whatever, as Bernie was. Millionaires. And he's one of the elite, but he can still go to like Topeka, Kansas and cut up with people and do his thing. But from all I understood, it was a kind of a muted performance by him, but in a way where he was flaunting what was going on as far as the vote in the Senate to whether to remove him or not, because he knew he had all those. He knew from the beginning he was never going to get removed, which I blame on the Democrats.
It was entirely theater once again. Every bit of it was going to be theater.
No good prosecutor is going to take a case to trial knowing that he's not going to have the votes in the jury. And you know the jury ahead of time. It's crazy.
You know the people.
You know exactly. I almost lost an eye.
You think you have glasses on?
Yes,
Wouldn't it be great if each side got to just throw out like 11 senators? Like it's
like you could strike from preemptive strikes and for cause.
We'd like to strike Cory Booker for reasons.
Oh, I'd strike Lindsey Graham for like just being Lindsey Graham.
I missed it, but I just pictured that it was going to be like the scene from Head of State with Chris Rock, where it's like a debate and one of them makes a point and all the guys in gray suits stand up and then clap, and then the next guy talks and they all sit down, and the next thing, blue suits, they all stand up and they clap, and it's just back and forth. I was like, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be very angry people and then very happy people, and it's depending on which side they're on.
The thing that I didn't understand was we're talking about it. It was very mild, and like you just said, Sean, it was a very mild performance because he went into it and he did the theatrics later. And last year, after the State of the Union address, we went through every single guest that he brought on. This year, he brought on a lot more guests. I went through to try to do the exact same thing and realized that I was quickly going to run out of paper.
So you suffered through the entire speech for this show. You prepped through it for it.
I just
notes.
like watching it.
Just a real trooper.
I just like
either he's a glutton
Trump.
for punishment, either he has brain damage, or he's a real trooper. One of those three.
I genuinely enjoy watching Trump, and I also genuinely enjoy the State of the Union address, no matter who's putting it on. I don't know why. There's something about that whole speech that's like, I like watching it, and then I love going through the fact check transcripts later and seeing like what was true, what was false, what did I fall for whenever I was listening to it, but this time it was Trump, somebody on Trump's team had the foresight to go, they're going to do it no matter what. So let's make sure that if there is any stretched truth, then it's something so stupid that the fact checkers look like they're biased idiots for even bringing it up. Right. And that was a great part of his strategy going into it. And especially because the vast majority of the time of the speech was spent just telling stories about his guests, right? So that's why they couldn't get a whole lot of inaccuracies from the speech, is because he was just telling these people's life story. There's not a lot to fact check there.
Right.
So he was going through all of those. But what kind of blows my mind is the fact that with the exception of one senator from the state of Arizona who's a Democrat, none of the other Democrats were clapping for any of the stuff that he said.
Not even for like the Tuskegee Airmen?
They would clap for the personal stories, some of the personal stories, not all of the personal stories, but they clapped for him. But there was I forget what bill it was, but maybe it was the prison reform bill, the criminal justice reform bill
that he made the Super Bowl ad about.
Yeah. And
which I found to be hilarious.
Well, and that lady didn't she wind up saying that she was pretty upset that she was in a Trump commercial because she didn't.
I didn't catch that part, but it came off like Trump has fixed criminal justice. This is a big accomplishment. It's like criminal justice will have issues until the end of time. And the idea that he's going to trot out there that he's solved the problem.
Did he make any reference to making 20-year-olds who are hooked on tobacco criminals? Did he bring that up when he snuck that into a must-pass bill?
Yeah.
Jules.
So he touts the criminal justice reform bill, and he says, I'm glad that I got it done. He said, actually, everyone in this room, we got it done. And
he's a uniter.
So then, like,
Oh yeah.
so then it just like every
enjoy my impeachment vote tomorrow.
yeah. So like like it was scripted. All the Republicans clap again because they're supposed to. The Democrats don't realize that
They've already passed that legislation.
that they were also part of that
Right.
passing that legislation. What's her name behind him? Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi, yeah.
She co-sponsors the bill, doesn't clap initially, and then it's like you can see the surprise on her face.
She's on delay and figures it out.
She's like,
well,
oh crap!
if she had read the
And then
damn
she'll
speech
start.
that she was given instead of tearing it up, she would have been up to speed.
Tearing the pages so that she made sure she didn't look like a fool when she actually tried to tear it.
Did everybody get enough theater in? I mean, did every side win on the theater, on the theatrics?
And that's what I like.
Win would be an interesting choice of words.
I think
Everybody won but the American public.
Was anybody asking for his autograph? Because I remember that was comical with Obama's last State of the Union, is that congressmen were handing him things to autograph on his way down to give the speech. And I was like, you guys are leading this country and you're fanboying.
Are you predicting this was his last State of the Union?
No,
Zach? Is that what, are you going? No,
I just recall that because I didn't go watch this when I was out with my wife for her birthday. But it's interesting to watch because you don't see that kind of like pageantry in our government for much. But the State of the Union gets some level of that. Everybody's together. You know, he's announced in and all this stuff. So I was like, that was the only thing. I got home actually and I was like, oh, darn, we missed the State of the Union. Because it was like on I turned on YouTube TV and it's just like on every live thing, State of the Union, State of the Union, State of the Union. I was like, oh.
The pageantry is who's the designated survivor? It's like, did you have that? Do you have that piece in the?
I looked that chart up. Because somebody was talking about it on something. So
I was oblivious drinking beer, watching hockey. So
you did it right.
In my almost happiest state
in perfect
of
American fashion.
More Canadian fashion, I guess, watching hockey, but I'm like,
but for the grace of God, I'm barely an American.
That's right.
One guest that I thought there were a few that I thought were specifically interesting. If you have the show notes and are a Patreon member, there's a link to the White House website that lists all of them and their biographies. But I picked out one that I found particularly interesting, which was a girl that he used to talk about school choice and said that
school choice.
Yeah. And he said that she was girls like her and students like her were the reason that he was urging the Congress to push through legislation to make school choice the standard across the United States of America, because no student should have to suffer in a failing government school, is what he said. And I was like, I like that a lot. I'm a big school choice guy, though. But that was one of the biggest pieces of criticism that he got from the night was it's weird for a government
using a child as a prop.
Well, they all do that.
They all do that. That's true.
It's an easy thing to say that, well, we need to have school choice. But if you look at Indiana, where we broadcast from, you can pick it. The schools are competing now. You can take your kid out of Newcastle and go to Tri, go to Shenandoah. How much more school choice do you have? If you want the free money, you can go to any one of 7 public schools that you could reasonably send your kids to in this community.
In reality,
or a private school or homeschool. You got like 9 choices.
In reality, it's definitely one of those things that needs to be left up to states to make that decision, because it's not explicitly laid out in the Constitution. So the 10th Amendment would apply to schools. So, but here in Indiana, we have it really good. I just like the fact that the highest government official in the United States of America was addressing the fact that public schools are in really poor condition. And, he said it, and it wasn't, he didn't say
His
it.
His legislative
and go,
director hasn't said, let's abolish the Department of Education.
Well, but he didn't say it and then go, we need to
like that idea.
Spend more money without oversight.
Republicans used to say that 30 years ago. Republicans, that was a platform of their deal.
And then Ron Paul said it, and then no one said it.
Yeah.
I don't want to end up like that guy.
Yeah. Chris thinks that Zach is 45. So in your lifetime, Zach,
Zach,
they've not always had the Department of Education. That came about in the Jimmy Carter administration.
I don't remember that. I think it's because I'm not 45 yet. Got almost a decade to go.
I think
jerk.
you are. Look at I saw your brother this weekend, and if you guys are twins, there is no way you're not 45. You are
We're
45.
twins? No.
One of them looks rode hard and put up wet. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
It's probably me because I'm married with 2 kids. 3-year-old will do that to you. He's home trying to destroy my house now.
Especially the 3-year-old you have now. I
Yeah.
saw him on Friday night with his black eye.
Yeah.
But
That was his name. His fault.
so I think that one of the biggest things.
Not that we're naming names. Zach.
Yeah. You can guess which one that is.
One of the biggest things to pull away from the fact that he had so many guests on, and the fact that there have been guests at every State of the Union address since Ronald Reagan started bringing them, and every single guest that is in the State of the Union is there because they're touting some giant success that was pulled off by the President of the United States. So since each president from each party has done that every year that they've been in office, it really just goes to show that a lot of people are going to benefit from government policies. A lot of people are going to be hurt by government policies, and you're going to find the people to kind of tout and back your own predisposed notion that what you did was a good thing, no matter what you do. It's kind of like doing a Google search.
Well, it's because
and
it's
already having the results in your mind.
it's anecdotal evidence, right?
Right.
I mean, you can find an anecdote for really any person that you've helped, and you can find an anecdote from my clients say that I'm the greatest lawyer that's ever walked the face of the earth. You can find anecdotes from some other clients say I'm just a total bum. And who's
it's
right?
hard. It's hard to find those guys because they're in jail.
Well, you
yeah.
might find them in DOC, but at the same time,
we have to do a multivariate analysis of the performance of.
it's all anecdotal, and it's just like anything else. It doesn't necessarily guide you towards what's good policy or what's poor policy.
That was a big part of Clinton. I think he was the first president that really connected people
absolutely.
emotionally like that. That was his signature move.
Absolutely,
And that was both in the State of the Union and in the town hall style debates back in the day.
he was the master of that.
Yeah.
And people are still learning from that. But I think Trump is 21st century P.T. Barnum. He knows how to play the media. He knows how to play. He's been doing it for like almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
Playing
He's
the
an entertainer.
tabloids.
That's what he does.
And he's the perfect ADD 21st century non-substantive president that you could have.
Get yourself some kofefi and enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just games and fun until people get killed. It's all good.
And then the other really cool thing, we'll end the guest with this one. A soldier returning from Afghanistan, his family was in the audience, and they surprised his family with him coming home and them seeing him for the first time there. This is neat. I'm a sucker for those videos on Facebook.
I was going to say, it's like, I don't want to come across as insensitive, but I do this every week, so I guess I probably do come across as insensitive. But that kind of reads like, hey, let's get a viral video, right? Like, it's opportunistic. I'm glad the guy's home. We should bring them all home. We should stop dropping bombs on people and end it and stop having to have those reunions. But it's all theater. Every bit of it's theater. Some of it's good theater, but it's all theater. It's all for optics.
I've waited for an anti-war candidate to come out with an ad and showing these reunions, showing all these children crying, being like, this candidate is going to make children cry. Can you believe it? And then you show it, and then it's like, oh, yeah, I'm running for president. I'm going to bring all the troops home.
That would be a good ad.
For me, that would...
Bobby Newport.
I've thought about that for like 10 years. And
you need to talk to Tulsi.
I'll talk to Tulsi. I'll take Tulsi's phone call. I'll take Bernie's phone call.
Tulsi
I'll take
needs all the
anybody's
help she
phone
can
call.
get after
Yeah.
Iowa.
All right, let's transition into it. They caucused. The Hawkeye Caucus was Monday night.
Caucuses are super weird.
Us.
I was checking with the correspondent that doesn't know he's our correspondent. Press Dog was in Iowa, and Bill Zarin, and he's a former media member, and we're Facebook friends. Noted author, IndyCar journalist, blogger, whatever. He caucused for Amy Klobuchar, I believe, and
Interesting.
It didn't. There were some that were found to be. There were some people in his.
Was he the one?
No, she got allegedly she's going to end up with one delegate. It was like 12% of the votes, or however it works. A caucus is this weird, horrifying thing anyway, where you show up in your local basketball arena,
and you play musical chairs,
and you go stand together in a group, and you have to have a certain threshold of people at 15%. Your gathering place to become viable. So you have to have enough people stand together that said, "I'm for Andrew Yang," to be a viable candidate. So
they continue the process over and over again.
Who likes this? Who is like, I want to do this. This is a good idea.
They do it because they're first and they get the attention. Well, that's got to be
not
why
for much
they do
longer.
Yeah.
So normally on a snowy night in February, everybody goes out. They have the Hawkeye, and then by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, you go, "Yep, Jeb won," but it didn't work that way.
It didn't work that way this time.
I kept checking in for results. I was staying in a Kentucky hotel room, and I turned on the TV. I'm like, let's see the results. See what happened. Not a damn result, Zach.
So whenever I woke up the next morning,
surely by the morning we'll know what happened.
I went to check my phone. I was like, I want to see who won, and I saw 0% reporting.
Yeah.
And then I just started seeing headlines of horrible things happening in Iowa, what we're calling the chaotic caucus. And it was, and my immediate thought was, they're screwing Bernie again.
Thank you. Yes. That should have been the thought, right?
Yeah. It was
what else are you going to get?
So they're screwing Bernie, and then the ultimate in this Trump era, Pete Buttigieg says, "You know what? My polling says I won. Screw it. Thank you for your victory, Iowa. We're going to New Hampshire with power, and we've won the caucus. Thank you guys very much."
He didn't say my internal polling says I won. He said, I paid the app developers, and the lead technology development on my team is married to the CEO of Acronym Incorporated, which developed the app.
Get it? Yeah.
So Mayor Pete won, and he's the new Obama, and I'm looking forward to.
Mayor Pete only won because he paid them, and they knew that if they made Joe Biden win, then it was going to be way too obvious that they were screwing Bernie again. So they needed a different establishment candidate, and that is Pete Buttigieg.
Pete walked it back the next morning, and he said, "Well, I walked on victorious means I did better than I thought I would do." And then it turns out Bernie Sanders won the by 6,000 votes, and Bernie comes out today and says, "I'm victorious."
It's multiple views of it. So it's on the first ballot, because you go multiple times.
Right.
The first count, the first attempt there, Bernie had a couple more, but then you go to the second one, which is actually what is the number of precincts and the number of votes cast on the vote that counts, and it's like 550 to 547 for Mayor Pete.
Right.
They're both going to leave with 11 delegates.
They're going to both leave with the same amount of delegates, but who
has the momentum? I think declaring victory first, that I won. I won Nebraska, and I also am claiming that I won Nevada and New Hampshire. I'm taking all of the ends.
That's going to help.
They're mine.
That's going to help Pete gather the Biden voter, the Klobuchar voter. Even some Warren voters, I think, are going to go to Pete because of Iowa. Yeah. But in reality, I think Bernie is going to run away with New Hampshire. He's going to compete well in South Carolina. Biden may still win South Carolina on the numbers right now. And Bernie could win California and Texas.
My problem for Biden...
Biden's like dead in the water at this point.
He finished fourth, and the only reason he's been first is because he's first.
Yes.
It's he's Jeb Bush.
Biden's dead in the water at this point. He'd have to get resurrected.
Because he's not going to do well in New Hampshire. That's going to be Bernie country.
Right.
And he's, South Carolina, Biden probably will do well.
So I think it was Tim Pool that sent out a tweet that said, for the past 3 years, we've been hearing Democrats complain about the Electoral College and that every vote should count. Why is Pete Buttigieg selected as the winner in Iowa whenever Bernie won the popular
That's what
vote?
the Bernie people would say too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I totally agree.
The caucus system is antiquated.
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
Ask Kennedy how he became president.
Yeah. Well,
that
Kennedy,
was the mob.
JFK, it was old school Democratic, heavy-handed politics. Like this is just
So the
sort of like,
unions
well,
and the
our
mafia.
app didn't work, and the app failed, and I don't know what's going to happen. It's
Well,
just-
now they're blaming it on 4chan trolls that
Of course.
got the phone number for the lines and jammed the lines up.
Could
you
you
imagine
that darn hard?
Could you imagine keeping your job as the DNC chairman or as the chair of the Iowa Democratic Party after all this? Heads should roll, and they are not going to because it's the establishment.
If you're in the Democrat National
Right.
Party, you say, well, the state party was responsible for
Of
that.
course,
It's
you just
not
pass
me.
the buck
Well,
all the
now
way
the-
down the
The
line.
state's responsible for the way they
Then you
run those.
pass it down the
Slap
the
their
local.
hand, yell at them, and you guys need to do better in 2024.
The national chairman for the DNC just called for a recanvass in the
because he
state of
didn't like
Iowa.
the results.
True.
That's because he didn't like the results of the satellite caucuses,
Yeah.
and because he knew Bernie was going to win. And that's just straight up what I believe. I'm going to hot take right now, but
You
Give us a hot
really
take.
think that they won't support Bernie because he's not a party member?
I won't. I think there is so much vitriol between the former Hillary staffers, between the current Warren people against Bernie, and the so-called Bernie bros, that I think that they will try to defeat Bernie at all costs, and that if Pete will be the new Biden, so to speak, they'll back him.
Yep.
100%.
100% all the time. And so it's just going to be interesting because Bernie is, for whatever we want to think of him, he's a lightning rod and he's always been who he is. He's not changed the past 40 years.
I am 100% on board with the Pete Buttigieg conspiracy. I'm 100%.
I
I'm
think
a firm believer.
he's the next Barack
I am
Obama
a
at this
Pete
point.
Buttigieg truther at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, do you have any thoughts at all, or
No,
under
I was-
advice of your counsel, you're just going to keep your mouth shut?
No, I remember waking up and they were talking about like apps. And I was like, wait a minute. We are choosing candidates with phone apps. I was like, something's wrong. And I was just like waiting. I just was seeing all the memes up on Facebook with Jeb as the winner and just zeros. And I was like, it's 2020. I'm like, I can order a pizza and do whatever I want on my phone or order something to have it at my house, and they can't count votes overnight. And they have zero. I was like, I don't understand how this is happening.
Couldn't you have just gone old school at that point and said, the hell with this? The state party calls up every precinct chair or whatever they had and said,
So
what was your vote total? And
they-
you get a damn spreadsheet
they
and you write
tried
it down
that.
and you've got your number.
They tried that. That was the backup plan.
Oh, sorry, we
But
threw it away.
For some reason, the precincts that couldn't figure out the app, they were already calling them in, and no one was keeping track of who already called them in.
Right.
So then, whenever people started posting pictures of the caucus spreadsheets and realizing that there were multiples of different precincts and different results on the multiples, then that is when they're saying the phone number got released, and then the alleged 4chan trolls were started to
think about
hog
this.
the lines.
Think about this. The Democrat Party, who's been saying that the Russian trolls took over the 2016 election,
Yeah.
hacked our democracy, whatever, went into the voting machines and make Donald Trump president. Okay. And then they trot out this app that somebody paid $70,000 for to whoever. And that's going to be the way they count the votes. It's hilarious. It's a comedy of errors at this point from the Democrats.
Haven't we gotten so much better than I've accidentally voted for Pat Buchanan in 2000?
Well, I mean, all those Jews just love Pat Buchanan down in Florida, but at this point, I mean, it's just like it's like a comedy of errors from the Democrat Party, and you think, well, Trump has all these issues, but then you look at the opposing party, it's like, man, they are just so incompetent. They are just so feckless.
At
and
least my
stupid, and they
401k went up
can't-
23% this year.
That is what you will hear from the average Trump voter. My taxes went down, my 401k went up.
Right.
That's why he's going to win unless Bernie gets the nomination. I think that's Bernie has a puncher's chance, if not better, against Trump. I think everyone else loses.
So are we dumb enough as a society to go, I didn't get as much money back this year, so my taxes went up? Because he changed the tax tables.
Hold on,
with
wait,
his
wait.
tax relief.
I can say this. I paid less taxes, and I got back $46 less on my federal return.
That's what I mean, is because you paid less taxes in your return because the withholding tables changed.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's
So
almost
now
exactly the same, though.
No, Guffey just rolled it into gambling money, so it's all good.
Yeah. You're gonna get a 1099 next year on all your winnings or losses.
Guffey saw Uncut Gems, and he's like, "That's what I would have roll."
The only winner in Guffey's life's FanDuel or whoever he's spending his money to.
One last thing here on the presidential side.
Sean, can you represent me when the IRS comes after me?
If we can be in an Uncut Gems type movie together, that's fine with me.
All right. How long do you think we've been in modern politics now? Is it 4 years? Is this what you consider modern politics? Is it 20 years? Like what?
Postmodern or
whatever
metamodern?
This
or
generation.
I think this is postmodern.
This is extremely postmodern.
What do you consider this style of politics? What we're in now? Are we starting something new? Has it been this way for 20 years, for 40 years? How do you national level politics?
I think things are totally different after Trump won the election. I think that's a totally different ballgame.
So this is different than anything we've ever seen before.
In my opinion, yes.
Have you ever seen people so proud to have voted for a president that they have flags underneath the American flags in their yard?
Yeah.
Have you?
The same man
common.
brags about banging porn stars and just grabbing women and doing all these terrible things, but they go to church and they have the Trump flag and they do all these things.
But they were very upset over the Super Bowl halftime show.
Very upset about brown women doing what they want to do with their bodies, but also at the same time supporting a man who's just an absolute misogynist and just another day in America. That's the thing. It is postmodern politics.
I think it is. I think
there is no meaning. There is no there. It's all drama. It's all theater.
It's all theater.
There's no substance.
And at this point,
no policy. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
Nobody ever accomplishes a damn thing. In a presidency, you get one thing. Obama got healthcare.
Yeah.
Trump got tax reform.
Tax.
Nothing else matters. It's all theater.
He also got a wall.
No.
It blew over, didn't it?
Yeah, it fell over.
They gave him what? Another $50 million in the last budget?
I thought Mexico was going to pay for it.
$50 million will buy you a nice bridge.
But I think that was part of, I think it was supposed to be going, or maybe it was $500 million.
We forgot that Mexico was going to pay for it, and then we just, well, whatever.
Guffey, do you think politics?
But the Democrats that were saying how horrible the wall was also voted to approve the extra $500 million.
Yeah, that's another thing. I want to. Nancy Pelosi ripping up the script. That's whatever. She has been so complicit in the Trump just passing the budgets, just doing the paperwork, just playing the game, and just like she acts like these resistance liberals are just so phony and just ridiculous.
They all came together to make smoking age 21.
It's like Elizabeth Warren putting her preferred pronouns on Twitter.
Yeah,
lady. You're in your 60s. We know your preferred pronouns are. Like, God, it's such a phony thing that you see right through them.
And Nancy Pelosi, though, my point was that she is so complicit in this because they just keep passing the budgets. They keep passing the military budgets. They keep passing the budgets for the F-35 fighter that can't shoot straight. They keep doing all these militaristic things, and then she wants to rip up a piece of paper on TV. Like, get out of here! You're useless.
Yeah.
There's no meaningful opposition to Trump.
So you don't feel like you're being represented in Congress? That's what
I don't think. I would just like to see some opposition that's meaningful and has some sort of substance to it, and we just don't have that. And because I think that America is better when you have two substantive parties talking about substantive policy and caring about people.
Weird. Why are we limiting it to two?
There's two parties in the House and in the Congress.
Yeah, there's
an independent there.
There's an independent in the House.
Libertarian get elected to the House. I'm absolutely fine with 3 or 4 parties.
And this is why we're announcing Sean Rao is running for Congress in 2026. You have 6 years to prepare.
This is against my will.
It's forced friendship.
The Guffey
the Boss
Hog Inquirer.
Guffey is anything changed? Does this feel different to you, or is it the same old, same old?
It does feel different a little bit. I will say, though, in 2008, 2009, when Barack Obama first got elected, I knew lots of, obviously we're from a small town, rural town, lots of Republicans and people that I knew were just hated the man, hated him no matter what he did.
Right.
And it's kind of rolling into Trump, and Trump's getting that way, and it's still that way, and it's just ramping up even more. And so in 2020, if a different president wins, if a different person wins, I have no clue what it's going to be like.
If it's a Democrat and if it's somebody mundane, like I'm going to say Pete Buttigieg or Amy Klobuchar. If it's somebody that doesn't have the old style or baggage,
Trump is going to roll on Pete
just going through
or Amy, just without question.
You think Warren or only Biden or only Bernie?
Only Bernie, because I think the Bernie bros and all the Bernie people who are a substantive group will stay home.
Yeah.
Unless Bernie's the nominee.
I think that Bernie Sanders is one of the only ones. I think out of the four that actually have a chance, Bernie Sanders is the one that is going to at least perform the best in a debate against Trump.
And we're talking about two very old men.
Right.
One who just had a heart attack and the other who eats Big Macs all the time.
I think that if Tulsi Gabbard was on a debate stage one-on-one with Trump, she would wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a.
She doesn't have the base.
She received 0 delegates and 0 precincts.
Right.
Hawkeye cockeye.
She's getting Ron Paul'd.
She's getting blackballed in some ways.
Zach,
but
does this feel familiar? Does this feel like it's been building? What do you feel like politics are now?
I think it's been building. I'm with Guffey. I kind of remember it seems like the last 10 or 12 years, and then recently it's just nobody wants to admit that their candidate could have done anything wrong. It's just they want to tout what they think they're doing right. Sean was talking about some of the things that Trump's been known to say, brag about, do things. I know people that were saying, well, we're going to ignore that. We're just going to talk about Pelosi tearing up the script. Like tearing up the speech was what we need to talk about. Nothing else. You don't talk about my candidate. Let's talk about this one. And it's just I've thought to myself, like, there might be some positive stuff that comes out of the Trump presidency, but you'll never know because he buries it and all the other stuff that he's doing and all the bragging he's doing. You'll never know about because there's so much smoke because he's constantly trying to just knock everybody.
You won't hear about them replacing NAFTA. You won't remember
any of that because he's burying it in his own controversies.
Right.
And
in his own hubris.
Yeah.
In his own just puffery that he just, I'm the greatest president of whatever. Like you could find a YouTube video of him saying he knows more about X, and it's everything.
I saw a thing that was just like 12 of those.
Yeah.
It was just stacking up him saying that I know more about fill in the blank, everything that he could ramble off, which is kind of the genius that Dakota said they stuck to numbers at the beginning because like that's when he gets in trouble is when he starts using superlatives because he uses them exclusively. Like even the very beginning, he talked about his inauguration. It had the biggest crowd of any inauguration. And they show a picture and it's like, well, it's pretty obviously not. The last inauguration was bigger and like most of them had been bigger than that one, weather, whatever. And it's just like, so keep them to numbers because numbers can't lie. Or if they are, it's very clear. It's a black and white thing. You can be selective in your numbers. Mm-hmm. Everybody can do that. But just people you see on Facebook just hate, like who I like, or you're an idiot. Yeah. Or like it's immediately insulting. There's no chance to even, well, can we, you want to talk about what's this? Or they don't, it's just, you have to take each candidate 100%. And if you don't like any one thing that they do, like they just pitch you in the trash. They hate you.
I listened to Ben Shapiro for the first time in a while today because I wanted to hear what he had to say about the State of the Union.
And you've been working for 14 hours and freezing to death. Thank you, by the way, for getting our hospital going again and saving our community.
So it was
now Audrey's at 7 millimeters, 7 centimeters. I don't know, 3 meters. I don't know what the gap is down there, but
I think I heard the hospital's back opening.
So we're good. Anytime, Audrey. Although if you could just hold
it'd be good content though if we have a live birth right now.
If the water breaks, Guffey, the mop is in the bathroom. Okay,
I'm grabbing the camera.
So I found myself, and a lot of times I will agree with Ben Shapiro on monetary policy, economic policy. I stand kind of far away from him on a lot of social policy and foreign policy. He's a warmonger, what
do you care if Guffey has to go back into conflict again?
You're not going.
I know
So-
Guffey would go.
I listened to him, and I found myself agreeing with about 99% of the things that he said.
He sounds
about
like
the State of the
Dobie. Is it
Union.
Dobie?
Guffey would go.
Guffey would go.
Dobby,
Dobby.
the house elf.
Yes.
But so
Guffey has a DD-214. Guffey is a free man again.
But he said one thing he said that I thought kind of goes back to your point is he said if we saw the Trump that gave the State of the Union address every day from now until election, that no Democrat would stand a chance against him, because he was like, oh wow, he's being actually somewhat presidential.
Well, it's
and
a
touting
muted
his achievements.
It's a muted Trump rally,
Right.
where some of the participants are chanting 4 more years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened in a State of the Union address for any president.
Right.
Just the divisiveness of it. There is no fixing this. You're either going to get 4 more years of Trump, and you're going to see that, or you're going to get a Bernie Sanders presidency, which is going to be something totally, absolutely different.
I think that one of the biggest things that contributed to how much hate and people have for Donald Trump and Trump supporters in general is the Democrats spent all of 2016 just they spent all of their money and their time telling you that Donald Trump was Hitler in the flesh, come back to commit genocide against Mexican people and gays.
The Democrat Party erred in a couple ways with Trump. They focused on the Russian stuff, which nobody cares.
And nobody bought it.
Nobody
from the
bought it.
beginning.
Nobody cares because it's a nothing
except
burger.
for the boomers that get their news from Facebook.
Well,
groups
it's
and
the
CNN.
old liberal boomers, and then it's
That's what I'm saying.
and then it's the Ukraine thing that Lev Shabayev paid Rudy Giuliani to do this, and then nobody can follow that either.
Right.
So, not that he's probably the most unethical president we've ever had, but at the same time, you were just chasing your tail,
his
and he is
personal
eating
things.
it up.
I
It
don't
is
know.
silly.
Are we forgetting about Calvin Coolidge and his corruption?
Oh, who could forget Cool Cal? Cool Cal was actually pretty squeaky clean, I
Cool
think.
Cal is one of my favorite presidents.
Yeah, why are you talking about Cool Cal?
I just wanted to see if I could.
I feel like he would be a
disrupt you.
libertarian
I
president.
just want to completely.
He's
disrupt
pretty-
you.
He's pretty.
I
He's
think
pretty
he's
damn
like the
libertarian.
closest
I
we
feel
have.
like, yeah.
He did nothing.
There's a lot of people like. There's a lot of
He did very
libertarians that are Grover Cleveland fans as well.
Yeah, but
They liked
I
him
think
so much
that
they
was
elected him a second time.
the fatal flaw, because then they didn't know what to do.
Right.
And you can't go from thinking that this guy is inherently evil
Right.
to then all of a sudden saying, well, some of the things he's done is okay.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You told me that he was evil just a month ago, and now you're saying that half of his policy is okay?
There's no meaningful opposition, and that's opposition creates pressure.
I think the
and so
closest
there's
that
no
we got
pressure
to
on Trump right now
meaningful
to
was
do anything
Nick.
different than what he's doing, which is whatever he wants to do.
Correct. That's true.
So if there's no pressure, why is he going to change? Why is he going to do anything different? Why is he going to readjust? He's just not.
All right, I'm gonna play John McLaughlin here for a second. One last deal. Is it John McLaughlin? Is that the
McLaughlin
guy?
Group.
McLaughlin Group,
I grew up for watching that.
Yeah. Not Sarah McLaughlin. I don't need you to play the music
Yeah.
over there, Guffey.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Please.
Nobody wants to be depressed and think about cats and dogs.
No puppies
Yes.
involved. But so let's pose one final question here before we move into final thoughts. Right now, people are worried about the national politics, and it looks like the Democrats don't really have a front runner. So we may be looking at 2008 again, where the Indiana primary could matter. We've actually got contested primaries locally in our community. You can't go vote for both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to have this massive vacuum at the county level when it comes to am I going to pull the Republican ballot to go for the Republican county council and county commissioner people, or are we going to see people go pull a Democrat ballot so they can vote for Pete or Bernie or Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden? What's going to happen here? Because if we're on a crash course to not having a decision made in the Indiana primary really mattering, and you can only pick one side if you take one at all.
I would push back against that because I think that Bernie is still with all the numbers. I think Bernie's still on track to be the nominee. However, if things happen and chicanery or whatever you want to say happens, I think states really need to look at having open primaries. It's silly that you can't go and vote for whoever you want to vote for who could be president.
So
without
even if you
declaring yourself,
if you have an open primary,
I have allegiance to this party. I have allegiance to this party, and blah blah blah.
But in theory, if you have an open primary, you'd almost need a second primary because you can't say, okay, I want a ballot for a. Even if you said I want a ballot, you're not going to get to choose.
Why couldn't you vote for both Republicans and Democrats?
You're going to pick on both
time?
sides at the same time.
Sure.
And
chaos,
split.
baby.
All right,
it's less chaotic than freaking Iowa.
Or could you at least like pick and choose your race? Like, okay, I'm going to pick one for
Right.
this
So
race.
I'm going to vote as a Democrat in the presidential, and I'm going to vote as a Republican in the county.
Because that even came up.
Well, that's the reason why some of the folks are not on the ballot here. You know, there was a Southern District Commissioner candidate, and the local GOP chairman, Todd. Hi, Todd. He said that no, that this candidate Newkirk running for Southern District Commissioner can't be a Republican because he pulled a Democrat ballot in the last couple cycles. Well,
Just the
last cycle, but I'm damn sure that if you go back and look at a lot of Republicans that voted in 2008, in 2010, they would have had the same problem because they were in the Operation Chaos thanks to Mega Ditto's Rush Limbaugh, right? A lot of Indiana Republicans voted Democrat in 2008, and that got forgotten. So I'm just saying there's a possibility for something real interesting coming. But your prediction, Sean, is that Bernie's going to have it wrapped up by the time we get to May.
My prediction is Bernie is going to be the nominee, mostly because of the analytics going forward. I mean, he's going to win New Hampshire handily. I think Biden's going to lose steam going into South Carolina.
You don't think that Warren can win California, or the liberals out there aren't going to fall in love with him?
I don't think that Pete's going to be close in New Hampshire, and I don't think that Pete's going to be all that close in South Carolina.
Well, obviously,
I think. Well, because why?
Because
why?
He has a problem with minorities.
Thank you. Yes, he does.
He does.
Which is kind of important as a Democratic nominee
in South Carolina
to be good with minority voters,
and because
kind of important.
It's not as big of a problem in Iowa, but South Carolina, it's a damn big problem.
Iowa's extremely white, and that's why Pete tied. And
that's why I think that's deep down the reason why I think Biden's got a very good chance in South Carolina because he was Barack Obama's vice president.
And that's where he can resurrect himself if he can. That's where it has to happen. It has to happen by a lot.
Yeah, he needs to win.
So he's going to get smoked. He's going to get smoked in New Hampshire, and he's going to get smoked in California.
He's going to finish fourth at best in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
right. Because he's not. Bernie's right there. Elizabeth Warren's right there.
I agree.
And I think Mayor Pete has a very good chance of doing well in New Hampshire.
Could do okay.
Yeah, top 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that leaves Biden off the podium, Zach. And if you're not on the podium, you don't even get a trophy to drop, right? You can't go Sebastian at Detroit. Guffey, what do you think?
I'm ready for final thoughts. I'm so tired.
All right. What you got? Final thoughts.
I've got one thing and one thing only, and that is February 8th, the Corn-Fed Derby Dames, the roller derby team, is having their home opener. It is in Muncie.
Time out. This sounds like an SNL bit with Stefan.
No,
he's real breathy and just real
I'm always waiting for like Guffey's final thoughts are always some like white trash entertainment. It's always like in a dark old warehouse with bad HVAC.
3 trailer parks are together and they've got 5 pallets to burn. Bring your Bud Ice and we'll be there at 7:30 and just before sunset.
If you could bring
all
your
I'm
own
saying is
chair,
I'm waiting.
That would be great.
I'm waiting on FanDuel or DraftKings to find out a way to bet on roller derby here. But it is Saturday, the February 8th, at the Delaware County Fairgrounds, 6 to 10.
Of course, it's Muncie.
Yeah. Well, they have a team driving in. Hey, they got a team driving in from Wisconsin.
Muncie.
So they got a team driving in from Wisconsin.
We were rude and we interrupted you.
I know.
They're playing Green Bay.
I don't know, some team from Wisconsin.
Kenosha Kickers.
Yeah, there. But anyways, so I will be there.
The Racine Rabbits.
Travis Week or Wake will be there.
Week, whatever.
He will be there. He's actually
Travis
a sponsor.
isn't weak.
And then
you should see
I'm
him
just
try to hold his
saying,
liquor.
Betsy Mills. She's very interested. I think I'm going to get her to go.
You're going to get her to the roller derby?
Yep.
All right. Very good. Sean, I hope we haven't abused you too bad.
No, this is my 4th time. I counted them out.
This is your 4th timer.
The fourth I can recall.
He's on tied with Betsy.
Betsy says that at the 5th time we're supposed to get you a jacket.
I love it.
Like the 5 Timers Club on SNL.
I love it. Bring it. I'll come back again. I love being on.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You joined the Patreon, which means a lot to us because We know that you're.
I buy my way onto the show.
Yeah, you actually love us.
No, I was just showing my appreciation. So, no, you guys always do great content here locally, and it's just important to have local voices out there that are talking about national stuff. So it's good. Don't really have anything to plug.
If you get in trouble, what phone number do we call?
You call a Galleon and Round Law Office, 765-529-3787. If you find yourself in trouble,
save that your phone right now.
If you have a custody dispute, if you have an estate you want to deal with, that's pretty much what we do.
What if it's my money and I need it now?
I'm the wrong guy for that.
What if,
okay,
They're all the TV guys do that.
If you were hit by a semi, should I call you or the hammer?
No, the thing was the hammer. Did you guys see the hammer?
Super Bowl ad. Super Bowl, yeah.
It was the most disturbing, upsetting thing I've seen as a lawyer in a long time. There was a midget involved, and it's like, do we want to disparage the practice of law so much as we're going to have?
He's like Better Call Saul.
He does what he wants to do. He's not as cool as Better Call Saul.
So in the Indianapolis market, and I assume in some other regional areas, because I know he's potent in Kentucky as well. This guy,
the Hammer.
He's got a name.
It escapes me right now. Daryl Isaacs.
I didn't remember it either. I was like the Hammer.
He owns about 1,000 billboards across the Midwest. It's like the wall drug of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So the Hammer bought a local Super Bowl ad, and it's all anybody talked about the next day.
It's like a porn parody version of Star Wars. The same quality.
It's like Thor and Star Wars had a Hammer baby,
and their budget was $2,000, and that was it. And so it was just awful. So and it made me want to cringe.
My mother-in-law is a legal secretary in Indianapolis at a very prominent law firm that competes against the Hammer all the time. They're the defense attorney, and he's the prosecutor. He's the plaintiff. Plaintiff, yes. And they're the defendants. So she and the entire group chat of the lawyers there were beside themselves.
Just crack it up.
Upset. And I was pissed because it overshadowed the Indy 500's local ad. So
it's stupid, but no, it's everything's good. Staying busy. If you need my help, let me know.
If you need his help, mention Liberty Defender Sean Rao, and you get a discount.
By extent, we did
There's no discount,
but we did have one passerby from Wisconsin that called up Sean one time, and he helped him out in a jam.
That's true.
It has happened in the past.
I have gotten one referral from this show, and that was it. That's true. Yeah,
it has happened. So it does work.
It does work, and I worked some magic on that one.
You did get him out before Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, I worked some magic. It actually did take some magic to do it, but I did it.
It happened.
So are you now a classified as an intermediate level wizard? Well, have you achieved master wizard status?
It's like all the things have to come together for it to work. So, you get the right situation, you get the right time, you get the right. I heard
that Henry County is notorious for backroom deals.
I wish it was that interesting. It's really not. It's mostly me going to beg prosecutors for a good deal, and I'm like, come on, what about this?
All right, 4 beers. That's my limit. 4 beers.
No, none of the prosecutors really drink. Like us defense attorneys, we're the ones that enjoy our beverages.
I just want you to know that I get one of the judge's newspapers about once a month.
Yes, so I know exactly who you're talking about.
I personally delivered it this last week,
and it's probably good that you do.
If you need that leverage at some point, let him know that if he doesn't treat you right.
Oh no,
I probably can't correct for the USPS anymore.
No, he treats me quite well. So
right.
we're good.
Then I'll keep. We're
good there. You keep it up.
All right, Zach.
I don't really have much to plug because I just got a thing. I guess Cade canceled, so I'll say go out to L&K and for all your beef needs, check their Facebook page for their specials. Other than that, just maybe just try to be nice to people on Facebook. And
the hell with you. We're not doing that.
Yeah. Like we were talking about the candidate who's kind of switched parties because he wasn't allowed. And I saw somebody tell him, they're like, well, you switched parties. I can't vote for you now. And they were like, what? Like a couple of us were like, you literally just said you can't vote for him based on the letter next to his name. Like you didn't really support him. So try to be nice, especially local races are just like, those are people.
I don't vote for Democrats.
It is so hard to run for local office.
Yes, it
to
is.
raise the money, to go through the effort. Anybody that sticks their name on a ballot is doing a service to you as a community.
Preach.
The last thing you should do is be shitty to them because they are helping you. If they don't run, you can cancel the election and keep the people you have.
Or you raise all that money, you spend all that money, you campaign your butt off, and then you have a guy at 5:55 as the poll's about to close say, I don't even know who's on the ballot.
And then I get to say, well, it was this guy and this guy. These were the two fools in there. You walked right by him and didn't care to talk to him. And then you went in, got pissed because you didn't know who was on the ballot and you left mad. Thanks for helping with the process. Okay, so Dakota.
Those people should be sterilized, right?
You know how many times on Facebook I sit there and I see that and we're like, what? You just, and you look and they barely have like 6 kids.
Are we ever going to have that conversation?
But you have to pass a test.
Idiocracy, baby.
This is an idiocracy. I would
Liberty
happy
for sterilization.
I would happy to appear for an idiocracy-based podcast. Anytime you guys want to review the movie at some point.
Okay, so I will.
I love that movie.
In the chat right now, Christy Avery is asking about the lawn down on 300 South that she
I meant
modified.
to check it. I just drove by that a couple days ago. I'm the one that took the pictures.
I think what they need to have to fix that up.
I don't know about that. What's the story there?
What makes grass grow?
Blood makes the grass grow.
No,
Fertilizer.
no, idiocracy. Come on.
Just have a flashback.
Idiocracy.
Brondo.
Well, no, what is what?
Blood makes the green grass grow.
It's what plants crave. It's
what plants-
Brondo.
Yes, it's like Powerade.
Yeah. Well, it's like Gatorade, Powerade.
Yeah.
Electrolytes.
Electrolytes. That's it.
Jesus, folks.
It's what plants crave.
No, it's what plants need.
No, it's, in
electrolytes.
the movie, it's what plants crave.
They need electrolytes.
No, they don't need it. They crave it. They crave it.
Welcome to Idiocracy, where we can't get the movie right.
No, I've got the movie right.
It's
Guffey's
Guffey
got
over
the
here.
wrong. Yeah,
Guffey's over here being a
what
dumbass.
plants
No wonder
crave.
you can't win an election.
Hey, watch this. Jeremiah, welcome to the party.
So, Zach, you want to tell the story real quick?
Which story? Oh, about
Our dear listener, Christy.
I kind of heard the back side of it. So we were at the comedy show a couple weeks ago that was in Newcastle at the OYO, and smokiest room in the state of Indiana, I think.
There's just a little bit of freedom in that room. The law that says there's no smoking does not apply at OYO because it is Indian control.
Freedom to smoke, but not freedom for me to breathe. I think I was wheezy the next day. But I noticed that she got there a little later, and I find out that she had tried to turn around in a grassy area nearby, which I'll give her this. That hotel, the entrances to it are not where you think they would be, and they're easy to miss. So I was out the next day, and I didn't get to do it on my run. I don't run with my phone, but I went over that way, and then we were going to, there's nearby a Walmart, which is what I call it, we're a Walmart Road. I was like, told my, slow down. We need to get pictures of this. And you can see where she tried to turn around in the grass, and apparently the sheriff's department had to come help her out. But I was like, I got to get pictures of this. I told him I was going to get pictures of these. And so, I got some pictures of where she tore up some turf trying to turn around and just on the south side.
This is another night in Henry County.
Yeah.
She drove, the lovely young lady drove all the way down from Fort Wayne to come hang out with us and go to the
local comedy
show, and instead accidentally wound up at CB Chair and tried to turn around at their sign.
That's true.
I'm shocked that she didn't have to walk the line. Or I bet I was waiting for the county officer to run her completely through the how do you do this? But if you're not from around there, it's dark. You kind of understand it.
It was dark. It was rainy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, not fun.
So,
Dakota, what do you got?
So I guess I just have that. We said in the Patreon portion we've been recording a bunch of episodes. Next week is the big episode number 150,
and it's the last live one until after Jackson.
We will be premiering episodes. We'll be putting links out on Facebook to the videos every Thursday, just like normal, except you'll just be watching it on YouTube instead of Facebook. And the next week's episode, 150, is with another fan favorite, Mr. Mark Brim. He's coming on.
We think.
So, I
mean, he's been invited. He's checking with staff.
Listen,
he disappoints us on the regular.
He's disappointed us, but literally every other time that he's been on, we also haven't known until Tuesday of that week. So
I think we should
it's
probably
no different.
I think we should probably take him to Weenie World next week in mid-February.
I don't know. We're shooting for Valentine's Day, baby, now, so it might not even work.
You're not going to get lucky if the baby's born on Valentine's Day. I don't like your chances.
No.
Yeah.
Poor chances.
All right. Final thoughts from me. On Netflix, there's a new movie that came out, Zach.
Uppity. Was waiting for that to come out.
The Willie T. Ribs story. Fantastic. Mason and I and my in-laws, Kevin and Libby, we all watched it. Mason is now a massive fan of Willie T. He was talking about, he's the first black fellow to ever qualify for the Indianapolis 500. Made the race in 1990. Spoiler alert: he made the race in 1991 and 1993. He did a great job getting in the race. He tells it from his side, and he's kind of Trumpy. He's very willing to proclaim how he's the best driver. The best driver. He's the best driver, especially when he was in sports cars coming through. He had big competitions with his teammates coming along. Rival. Anybody that had crossed him became a rival. So Jack Roush is kind of one of the enemies. Anybody associated with NASCAR is kind of one of the enemies in it. And I really feel bad for the late Robert Yates because he came across rough.
I haven't got to see it yet because I saw it was on last night, and I was like, I looked, I was like, it was an hour and 48 minutes long. I was like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I have to adult and go to bed.
It was made by Adam Carolla, which was fantastic. Our friend Marshall Pruitt, who I'm hoping we're going to get a booking of Marshall in May. I think he's over 3 million downloads, 4 million downloads on his podcast.
Well, are you over 4 million?
It's incredible. He was a big part of it.
We're only 1 million away from him. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're right there. And if you're a fan of the Olympics and pop culture, Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner features very prominently in it.
He was an early SCCA sports car guy.
Yes. So Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, after the Olympics became a sports car driver and was teammates on the team that Willie left, Roush Racing. So Scott Pruitt and Jenner were teammates, and they got into a fight, and it is detailed. And Caitlyn sits down for interviews as Caitlyn, and it is excellent. It is theater to watch. So jump on Netflix
Are you
and
trying
find
to get
Epity.
us banned?
Why?
You just dead named Caitlyn Jenner.
Right.
Yeah. You get kicked off of Twitter for that.
What's the problem? I'm reporting on motorsports. You just stand down, young man.
I'm just telling the truth. We get kicked off of Twitter for that. We're gonna get banned.
We're gonna lose our 3 Twitter
What are we
followers.
gonna do whenever they kick us off of YouTube now? Now no one's gonna get the video for the canned episodes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Guffey's already shut his computer off and his headphones are off. He's done.
Jenner was an excellent race car driver.
Corolla does great documentaries. He's got a couple that are on there or on Amazon Prime Video, 24-Hour War, and then the Shelby American, and they're excellent.
Yeah, it's worth watching. So jump on, even if it's just a human interest story. So even if you don't care about racing, go watch it. It's definitely worth your time and your effort. It's a great story, and he's basically the Jackie Robinson of motorsports. So enjoy it. Check it out. He's got a very strong personality, but you definitely get an understanding of it by watching the documentary. That's the end of this. We'll see you all in episode 150.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at wearelibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to wearelibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.